What is going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Rage, back with another Outriders build guide to bring to you. That's right, we have not left this game. We are still bringing new things your way to be able to test out. And this time we're going to be looking at the Surtr build guide to bring to you for the Pyromancer. And the reason why we've named it that is because Surtr is the main mythology, it's one of the main figures to do with Norse mythology, and is going to be the one that's brings about the events of Ragnarok. You may obviously have seen it loosely based on that during the events of Thor Ragnarok, but it ultimately will destroy the earth with flames, and that's the idea that I'm channeling with this kind of build. We're summoning flames from everywhere, we're sending those forward, we're weakening our enemies, and then we're absolutely smashing them down, and that's the idea with this build. It was a lot of fun, and it was quite surprising as to how good and how effective, and the numbers we can actually see when it comes to our stats as to how good this game actually was. So let's get right into it. So before we go any further, can I kindly ask you to be able to hit, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you press that like button. It really does show us some love when it comes to Outriders, and obviously we've built our main community based on Outriders, so it really does mean the world to us that obviously you're still looking forward to this game. You're still looking forward to that content that's going to be dropping mid-November, just like we are, and obviously it just inspires us to be able to come up with some more ideas for you. So make sure you do that and just show us some love. Alright, so because of the build idea in general was something that was sort of recommended to me by one of our members over in the Discord, and obviously if you're over in the Discord, make sure you, if you're not already, make sure you click that link that's down below, found in the description, to be able to get yourselves over there. But we do like to listen to your ideas, and we do like to be able to bring ideas to the forefront and make sure that we can actually come up with a really good build for it. So this was a really good idea. I liked the challenge of being able to make a firepower pyro. Now I know there's a couple of ones already out there, but I wanted to make something that was reminiscent of how a Technomancer kind of is played, because Technomancer was the one I was grew up with, but is basically the main that I've been playing throughout this game and the majority of its game's life cycle, and I do enjoy that gameplay, but I want to try it out with something a bit different. And a Pyromancer really does actually make you work for it, because when you don't have, for example, with the Technomancer with Blighted Rounds and with Toxic Lead and Trick Up the Sleeve, you're able to just keep shooting. You don't have to worry about anything else. You just keep holding that trigger down. You're able to get some kills and just refill your ammo that way. Whereas when it comes to a Pyromancer, you don't have something that intrinsically just gives you your ammo back. You do have to work for it. You do have to make some kind of synergy in the build, and that's where this kind of really came apart. So what I wanted to be able to do was I wanted to find a way to be able to boost everything. I wanted to be able to boost my skills, I wanted to be able to boost my firepower, I wanted to be able to boost the damage that I'm dealing out, and I found the perfect combination in that, really. So the volcanic rounds is obviously a must. Make sure you've got those. Heat wave along with the ACARI set, and feed the flames was the way that I was able to refill my ammo coming back. So do you know what? I'm not going to say anything more. I'm just going to show you some gameplay. I'm going to show you the build right now, and then at the end of it, I'll come talk to you again. Alright, so let's have a rundown through the gear that I've currently got. Let's have a look as to what makes this so good and how it's just basically viable. So we start off with the Damascus offering. Now the reason why I've gone for this LMG is it was recommended to us by one of our viewers, and the tier 2 anomaly enhancement perk that rolls with it is just so good, and the fact that it comes with 100 clip size, the damage is pretty decent. The rounds per minute I wish was a little bit faster, and I do wish the crit multiplier was a little bit higher, but do you know what, that's by the by. It does come with a 30% crit damage on top of it, just because of the gun that it is anyway. But that tier 2 receiving a firepower boost equal to 40% of our anomaly power is what's going to make this so huge, and you just get to see some daft numbers, easily over 500k, and obviously that's the reason why we're doing so much damage anyway. So I've gone with put Fortress on here. You could mix this up a little bit. You could test it out with Dark Sacrifice, you could put Killing Spree on there, but the reason why I went for Fortress is I wanted something that was a bit more consistent, but I also wanted something that was going to help me with my skills as well, because I wanted to make this a combo class. I didn't want it to just be purely shooting. I wanted it to be a case that we were using the firewalls and we were using Feed the Flames for actual pieces of damage when needed, and then obviously it gives us a power boost to be able to go into our damage for our guns as well. I did test around with a Burst AR as well, going the exact same route and testing out with crit damage and long range damage, and it worked really well. It did, but the problem is that the clip size only being 30, and the fact that you're firing 3 bullets at a time, you go through that ammo so quickly, and it was very difficult to be able to keep the rounds up just basically 100% of the time. So if you're not too worried about that and you want to be able to go a different route and try using like really high burst damage, and then obviously fall back onto a different gun to be able to keep going for the time being until you get your rounds back, then this would be the way to go. I would recommend this as your elite killer, and then obviously something else to be able to deal with all the other like minions that are around on the floor potentially. That's a different kind of play style, but that's not the way I went. But it definitely can be done that way. So let's get into the armor, because the pistols really aren't important. So we've gone for a 3-piece of the ACARI set, because this is where we're going to get all our anomaly power bonus from. And this rolls with anomaly power, skills life leech, status power to be able to help out with all that burn. And then I've gone for the tier 3 mod of Fire Tsunami, which is obviously what comes with the helmet, where it increases the width of the firewall. This is what makes it so consistent to be able to get all that anomaly power bonus that you'll be looking for. I've then gone for the tier 1 mod of Bullet Absorption, where it replenishes 40% of our ammo in our magazine for every enemy affected by the skill. Now this is going to become important as we go through the rest of the gear, but just know that 40% is what's going to keep our rounds going, and obviously 40% on the 100-round magazine is about 40 rounds on the Damascus offering. So just keep in mind that's what we're really going for, and that's why we're able to put down so much lead in a short space of time. Going on to there, we've gone for the armor of the ACARI, and I've replaced a tier 3 mod on this because it didn't have anything to do with any of the skills that we were using. So I've replaced it with lava shots, where just as standard, as long as volcanic rounds is active, increases our firepower by 25%. This is huge, and I believe, I'm not 100% on this, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this actually will scale with all the firepower that we are building up. And yeah, this is what helps to be able to get to that stupid number as well. The tier 1 of Tidal Wave comes as standard, where the skill can be activated one more time before triggering cooldown, and that's nice to be able to obviously increase our anomaly power bonus and just keep that constantly active. If we go from there to the waistcloth of the Reforged, and the reason why we're going for the Reforged is because they have some really nice tier 3 mods to be able to increase our Feed the Flames, which is obviously the main way that we're replenishing our ammo, and it still rolls into anomaly power and long range damage and cooldown reduction, so I do need to get a few more shards to be able to get that cooldown reduction up to 7.49, but it's still okay as it is. It just means an extra 2.49% obviously coming off. So the tier 3 mod is Flame Grasper, where it enables absorption of 2 additional targets. This puts it up to 3 targets, which means that we're getting 40% of our ammo back for each one, which brings it up to 120%. Now obviously we can't go above the 100-round mag that's currently in the gun, so it just basically it just gives us a bit of consistency to be able to fill our magazine back up to full. And is a really good mod overall. It also allows us to be able to spread out the damage that we're going to be doing as the skill as well. And then I've gone for Burnt Out as a tier 1, where damaged enemies take additional 25% more damage for 8 seconds. This is quite nice, and it's quite crucial to be able to hit those really high numbers. I have seen on Elite to be able to do over 500k in a crit, so obviously we're doing that over 100 bullets. It's very nice. It definitely helps with some consistency to be able to take out the mobs. If we then go to the Gauntlets of the ACARI, so this is our last piece, we've gone for Strength from Fire, where Heat Wave will give us 10% weapon damage bonus per enemy affected for 8 seconds. So obviously this scales similarly to how the set bonus actually goes. So we're getting an anomaly power bonus, which then, because of the tier 2 mod of anomaly enhancement for the Damascus, is then feeding back into our firepower, and every single enemy that we've hit is then giving us a 10% weapon damage bonus on top of that, and this is obviously how we are scaling up to the stupid heights that we are going for. I've then put Bloodlust on there, so killing shots increase our firepower, just so we've actually got some kind of increase for the percentages to actually get us up to higher levels as well. And then lastly, we've gone for Boots of the Reforged. I was trying to find a different one to be able to replace this with, but I suppose it's not technically bad, because obviously the power assimilation, where it boosts our anomaly power by 11,000 for each elite present, will then actually feed back into the firepower. It's only around about 4.5k firepower for each elite that's there, but I suppose it's something, but definitely look out for something a bit better for the boot, and the tier 3 mod of Captain Hunter, because I like to take down elites so much quicker, and that really does work out quite nicely for it. So in terms of skills, it's basically, you've seen all the mods that are going for it. We've put something into every single one of them. So we've gone for a Heat Wave, Volcanic Rounds, and Feed the Flames. Really is just as simple as that. I wish the cooldowns were a bit shorter on that, but do you know what? That's how they're currently set up, and maybe in time I'll get enough shards to be able to test that out and be able to get those down. In terms of the class tree, we've gone for something a little bit unique here. So we've gone primarily top tree, and we want to get all the way to the capstone for burning situation, where activating our mobilize skills, so purely our feed the flames. It just increases our weapon damage by 45%. This is where we're going to get the majority of the boost of damage that we're going to be dealing with. So just keep in mind that when you activate Feed the Flames, you're going to see a massive increase in damage. It feels more than 45%, I swear to you, and it just goes from like 100, 200k to all the way up to like 400 or 500k. So don't let those numbers fool you. It really does give you that big of a bonus. So go from there. We've gone for obviously Trial of the Ashes, so when we're hitting enemies inflicted with ash, which will be the main reason why we're obviously dealing more damage. Just basic standard stuff. And just we've tried to get the cooldowns as much as we possibly could. It would have been nice to have had Marble Orchard, but since it only affected one skill and I wanted to get all the way down to the bottom here, I had to kind of drop it and had to leave it. So in terms of the straight down the middle, we've gone for is Hot Situation, where activating our immobilize skills increases our anomaly power by 45%. So this is our Feed the Flames again. So activating that then obviously puts our anomaly power up by 45%, then feeds straight back into our firepower, which is great. Going from there, Moment's Burn ends inflict ash, which obviously you can spread the burn around a little bit, as you'll see in the gameplay that was in the background. But it's really nice to be able to inflict that ash so nice and easy, and then obviously you get a nice damage bonus off that. I mean, we're getting a little bit of max health. Extinction really helps quite nicely to be able to finish off those enemies when they get a little bit low on health. Had to go for our mage just to be able to, but it still works out quite nicely because it's boosting our anomaly power, which in turn is boosting our firepower. And then lastly, I wanted Inferno Bullet, where our firepower is increased by, as standard, by 15% of your anomaly power, which obviously then feeds back into the tier 2 mod, because we're getting a 40% as standard. We're now getting a 15% on top of that as standard, and then obviously we've got so many things that are increasing our anomaly power and then obviously increasing our weapon damage as well. So it really has a nice synergy, mainly through Feed the Flames, but it does work really nicely as a build, and I'm very proud with how this has actually turned out. And that is it for the build so far, and as you can tell from the gameplay that's in the background, it's definitely something that actually does work, and I can speak testament to be able to see. It was a nice little challenge to be able to do. It was a lot of fun to be able to put together, and it's a lot of fun to be able to see what works and what doesn't work, because it did take a little bit of testing to be able to get right and to the point where I'm actually comfortable at the moment. I would highly recommend that if you are a Pyro main and you've been maining your anomaly power builds and you want to try something a little bit different, definitely hit this up. It's definitely worth a try. And it just really does mix up, so you can just go back and forth between the two and just have a little bit of fun, bit of a mess around, and just try out that way. It was also nice to see that this is comparable to a firepower Technomancer, but it's almost like an inverse in a way. So whereas a Technomancer is really good at single target damage and just being and then kind of struggles when it comes to groups or obviously getting up in your face, the Pyromancer is really good the other way around, as in that they're really good at dealing with crowds that get up close, because their rounds don't necessarily need to hit to be able to deal damage. They actually just have to be close, so that's really good. But when it comes to single target, they don't have all the multipliers that a Technomancer does actually have, so they kind of struggle a little bit when it comes to elites, and that's it's interesting to see how those two really kind of work. And but yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice challenge, and if you wanted to mix up your gameplay in Outriders and you want to try something different, I'd highly recommend that you pick this up and give it a go. As always, that leaves us a little bit of time to say thank you so much to the members of the Babylonian family. Their names will be popping up shortly in the video, and if you are interested to be able to get your name to be able to show up on our videos at the end of each one, make sure you click that join button that's found right next to the subscribe button. It really is as simple as 99p a month, and it really just goes a long way to be able to show us that obviously the content that we make is something that you enjoy, and it just allows you to have a few other perks alongside us, so like exclusive roles in the Discord and obviously showing up on our videos as well. It really does mean the world to us that you've stayed this long to be able to watch the video, so I really hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned something useful, and as always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I'll see you all on that next video.